welcome back to the Advanced Business Workshop, right? It's Tuesday, so I wanted to take the time from the working schedule of mine to share with you, great idea and strategy that you can apply into your business in today's changing market, right? So the so today I wanted to talk about the services, right? Customer service, right? So the every successful company, every successful business, they are very obsessed with the customer service, like Amazon, right? Like Nordstrom, right? So when you have a good customer service and the client have a good experience, to use your service and the way that you providing the service for them, it creates a business referral, right? So, if you were to look at the business of Starbucks, for example, on an average, Starbucks repeat customer would come back to their store and buy 17 to 19 times a month, right? So if you look at like where I'm at in Seattle, you look at like Nordstrom customer service. I mean, like if you're gonna look at them and ranking like on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rank in their customer service, right? And then if you look at like Costco in Seattle, when in the time that we're in right now, where business is retail, it really struggle. But you look at Costco and customer service that they have, it's really, if you were to walk into a brick and mortar store of Costco, and then you can see the customer service there at the top, right? And then I listening to Jeff Bezos and the way that he building the Amazon in Seattle, Washington, right? So the office of the original Amazon is located right next door to our Windermere real estate office, back at the Pacific Building. But they, talking to a lot of the people from Amazon executive when they established, started Amazon company, it's all about customer service, right? The obsession of the high customer service, right? So the successful company is successful, have a great customer service for their client, and I just want to emphasize on that. If we in real estate, we are in the real estate industry, right? So what would be the best service that we can provide in for the buyer, right? For the buyer, the best customer service would be get them to purchase a home of their dream, right? And handle in the process, and ask for referral if you do a good job, right? For the best customer service for the seller, right? Whether it's our apartment listing, whether it's gonna be industrial listing, whether it's gonna be investment property, or whether it's gonna be a single residential family home that you listed. The best customer service that you can provide for your client, it get the job done, get the listing sold, right? So, so I wrote down here is that there is the direct correlation between the income that we receive and the level of the service that we offer, right? If we want to improve our earning, if we want to improve our revenue, right? If we want to increase more money for ourselves, right? We got to improve the customer service, right? And I will look at it and say, whether what is your skill for not give the best customer service, for your client, right? And then, if you look at like the Amazon customer service, Amazon is nothing but an online listing, right? When it's starting out with when they started out with selling book online, and then, and then later they transferred to sell everything's online. It's just an online listing service, but you look at the level of customer service that they have for their client, right? But then you look at Costco, right? Costco do not, with the exception of, Kirkland Signature and their product, how many product in the that Costco that listed in their warehouse is the property that they own, right? Versus the third party seller that listed the property in their warehouse. So you look at a brick and mortar, you look at online, both of those companies in Seattle, their customer service is exceptional, right? So increase your revenue for your company, for your business, you got to improve the level of customer service that you provide for your client, right? So, I wrote down here that yes, customer service revolving around answer any concern, question that your customer have, right? And doing what you told them that you're gonna do, and telling them the truth, right? When I started in real estate business, I create, in order for me, I came from Vietnam. My dad's a U.S. Marine. I came to Seattle, and I came to Seattle though as a refugees. Didn't know a soul, didn't know the language, but I got into the business, real estate, 22 years ago, right? But but I have to go out there and like compete to get client, right? So for every client that I approach, I meet, I talk to, I present to, I always give them a written documentation of what I am gonna do to help them with what they want, right? So for example, if a seller was sitting down with me, husband and wife, we're talking to them, I will show them here what is my committed service, and I will put that in writing, right? So for those that work with me for the last 22 years, every time I meet you, when I represent you to sell your asset, I always give you a written documentation to share with you what I am gonna do to get the assignment, to get the job done for you, right? So great customer service is revolving around, answering the concern and the question, right? And then do what you told them what you're gonna do, right? But they're always telling the truth, right? Always telling the truth. For over 3,000 clients that I served in the past, and when I do the training and the coaching business, which I started back in like 2002, right? So it has been about 18 years that I involved in the training and coaching business. And I have coached and trained over 146 entrepreneurs in real estate, right? So if you really look at it and say, well, it really can say, when you come and meet up with me at my company, the first thing that I give to you, which is my past client, right, is about the written, service guarantee that I'm gonna give it to you. For example, we're providing facility, we provide top-notch training, we're providing, great branding, we provide transaction support, we're providing the training on Tuesday and Thursday, we're providing, weekly coaching, right? And for those, you become successful because of the service guarantee that I providing to you, right? So I would really want to share, in the customer service section today, it's like, great customer service, it have to revolving, around, doing what you told your client that you're gonna do, right? So great customer service, I wrote down here that require on the regular communication, right? Whether it's gonna be listing on the apartment, whether listing on a high-end residential, or investor buyer purchase a property, right? So you have to call every 10 to 15 days. It's very crucial because when you have a client that asks you to do something, that promise to pay you, but in real estate, for example, average home price in the King County is about $700,000. Average fee, professional fee, that a regular single family home customer that will pay you about $20,000, right? $21,000, for example. But if you're gonna list it, multi-million dollar asset, regular communication to your customer is very crucial, right? And then and so I coach over the many client, many entrepreneur over the years. When they take on the listing, the asset, right? And then the market is changing that way we are right now. That where you have to reduce the price, right? When you a lot of this professional, they go to their client, without any communication in between, right? Without providing any valuable information about the trending, the market, where it go, price per square feet, competitive market analysis of the pricing of going on in the marketplace, right? Without the regular communication, and bam, 2 weeks after you listed the asset on the market, you go back to your client and say, Mr. Seller, Miss Seller, we need to reduce the price by 5%, 4%. What is the chance for you to crash with your client about that issue, right? Stay in communicate, provide valuable information, educate your client, make regular communication with your client part of it, right? Nobody gonna reject you or fire you, in the process between customer, and professional. So stay in communication with your client in today's market is very important, right? It's very important. So I wrote down here is that Ahmed we talking about, doing a customer service, right? And ranking your customer service on a scale of 1 to 10, right? So and I know, regarding the assignment, regarding the listing, regarding, the business opportunity, regarding the transaction for your client, right? How do you put this into perspective of good customer service, right? That gonna lead to, the successful of the transaction. You gotta create a schedule for yourself and block out, the time, at least 2 hours every single week to talk to your client, right? Do you have that customer service, 2 to 5 hours a week? You block out your schedule completely. This is the customer service that you communicate with every buyer that asks you for your service, right? You communicate with every seller that you have the listing. I have a client and he have like 82 listings right now on the market, right? But if you're gonna have more listings, you spend more time and build that into your schedule, which is your time to do the customer service that you committed to talk to your client, right? But in this market, because the client, you are get who the professional you are or your customer, right? You are the professional, right? You learn the market trend, you learn the product, you learn the finance, you learn the challenging in today's market, you learn absorption, right? Which is listing, so and buyer sell. You know the percentage asset gonna be sell and the percentage of listed on the market. You know the percentage of the price that you listed and the price that you sold on the asset, right? What would be the percentage, right? So that you can communicate with your client every week, right? Every week, the more customer you have, the more time that you build into your schedule to do a customer service, right? So I wrote down here that to create a better customer service, from the title company, the mortgage company, home inspection, coordinate all the party in one, right? To keep a communication going forward, right? So good customer service is start with the process of under promising and over deliver. Under promise and over deliver, right? It is much, it's much better than over promise and under deliver, right? Your client would definitely appreciate it, right? Your client would be really appreciated if you under promise and over deliver, right? So in talking to your customer service, I wrote down here that every every 10 to 14 days, and let them know what they need to know, right? Let them know that you are really care and don't focus on the problem that they have, right? Every problem have a solution, right? So it really if you're going to have an asset in today's market that's not selling, right? What would be the percentage of the asset that's sold? Just don't go back to seller. Your client and say, it's a bad market. I couldn't get it done for you. Well, somebody else will get it done for them, right? It's just not you. So what is the solution for the problem, right? And so solve them. You are the problem solver, and that's what the customer expecting to is to pay you to solve the problem, right? But to not to solve the problem, then what is the point, right? So think about a solution for the problem that you're facing, right? So for those of you who have the problem with production, want to earn more money for yourself, want to help more clients get lifted, so we have a production and income problem that we can help you to increase more client, to help you to to increase more client and help you to create more income, right? But you got to go into our training, go into our coaching, right? Be like professional and committed to the schedule to do it, right? Without you doing anything about your business is going to be stalled. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. So come to the Advanced Business Workshop. If you're going to listen to this kind of material, right, and the training, I advise you, you own this kind of material, right? You own this strategy, you own this idea by listening to it time and time and time again, right? So it's kind of a, professional, that's what they do, right? And I share with my team, like, professional football. They practice, right? They study the game plan, right? They practice the skill. They practice the whole years, right? With the exception of the vacation that they have annual, but they practice 8 hours a day, the whole year just to play the 16 game like the NFL Seahawks. Their player, they're gonna play NFL season coming up, right? The Dewey, they practice, they rehearse, they get trained, they get coached. My question for you in a declining and changing market, when it comes to real estate development, real estate brokerage, right? Who training you? Who coaching you, right? Every successful entrepreneur, every successful professional athlete, right? They have a coach, right? Who coaching you? I want you to answer that question for yourself, right? And what do you need to learn? Who's gonna train it to you? Who's gonna share that with you, right? So I wrote down here is that yes, the quality and the reliability, dependability, and the honesty, and that's what the customer looking for. So you really have to practice those qualities. Remember, reliability. Are you reliable, right? For your client to work with you, right? Are you demonstrate that you are a reliable professional that be there for their client in the most challenging, market that we're in right now? Are you that one, right? Are you dependability? Are you dependable? Can they count on you to get the job done? Whether buying a home, whether getting access sold, right? And are you telling the truth? Are you telling the honest truth about, about their access, about their pricing, right? And what would it take to get the job done for them, right? So are you honest about that, right? And are you honest with your client about pricing of the asset, right? And the question is always been like, why your asset is not selling, or why your home is not selling, why your building is not selling, right? Why your leasing retail, stay the all-time high vacant, is not leasing, right? You can give all kind of skill, right? But unless you really be honest about the work that you do, and telling them the truth, telling your client the truth, no matter how uncomfortable you are, right? I know it's really hard to tell in your seller nowadays that the market is, flat out. The market is decline. It's changing, right? Nobody wants that conversation. But you got to learn. Remember, you have to learn to tell the truth about the pricing. And I know it's hard because you have one company compete with another company, and everybody competing on bidding on the price up, right? But it's not really helping the client, right? You want to help them to get the job done. You lift them really high, or you sell them really high. It's not going to do them a favor, right? right? And you end up not going to get the job done, and that can be a issue for you and your client both, right? So when you listing the asset, right, for sale, tell your client exact step that you're going to go to do, right, what you're going to go through. And you got to, just like me back in the old day when I worked with the client, and I work with thousands of clients, right? I give a copy of a service guarantee, the action, right? The action plan, what I am going to do for the client, right? And help them to hold me accountable for it. 'Cause that's what I'm going to do for the client, right? So, give them the copy of the service guarantee, right? And then, ask your client, to check it out. And you accomplish each step, right? You do the same for the transaction in the process, right? So it really like what will be the exactly step that you're gonna go through, right? So I wrote down here, it's just about the feedback, right? It's just about feedback with the customer, right? So, you gotta consider doing the survey to all of your clients, right? After the closing, right? And ask them to give you the feedback, whether the transaction experience with you were negative or positive, right? And you need to learn that. You need to know that, right? I purchase item and product from Amazon. They sent me the survey, right? And when I work with my client, I send them a survey, and when I working with you as a professional that want to have the advanced business workshop training, right? Or the coaching, I send you a survey. Give me the true feedback, what is the performance here? What is the experience here, right? You need to know that. So consider doing the survey to all your clients, right? So, as I mentioned before, right? I wrote down here that yes, in real estate business, right? In the financial business, okay? You are loan officer providing a loan for your client. You are the professional listing the asset for industrial, for the apartment, for the retail or residential, right? The in real estate, that's what the industry, that I am in. That all the industry real estate I'm in, right? So the highest level of the service, to the professional is to get the property sold, right? And the highest level of the transaction process is to get the transaction closed, right? So the highest service on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is no good, right? 10 is the best, right? How would you rank in the transaction experience on the scale of 1 to 10, So if you're gonna get like a 4 or a 5, or you're gonna get a 7 or an 8, or you're gonna get like a 1 or a 2, with that not what you want, right? So the highest level of the service is for the listing is to get them sold, right? And the highest level service of the transaction process is to get the transaction closed, right? So if you don't get the access sold, during the time that you serve your client, like 6 months or 3 months or 9 months, depend, and you fail to get the access sold, get the access closed, right? Well, your client gonna go and interview and hire somebody else, not you, right? So that they can get it done for them, right? Because I work with expire access, over a couple decades. I already know, right? So either you get paid or you pay, right? So you really have to look at what be the highest level of customer service, right? And you have a buyer working with the highest level of service of the buyer is to get your buyer a home, right? Right? So, I wrote down here is that yes, you encourage your client, your customer to tell you what they like, what they didn't like, to so that you can have an opportunity to improve yourself, right? How are you going to improve yourself if you don't get a true feedback from your customer, right? So, telling your client either positive either negative, but you need to know that, right? So I wrote down here is that, if you are using your staff for customer service, for those of you, there are two types of real estate activity, right? You know, income producing activity, that's where you prospect, you follow up, you do presentation, you closing on the transaction. That's one activity that, if you're gonna work with us, on a training and a coaching, we're gonna encourage you to focus, 60, 70% of your schedule, your time to do that. The other activity would be like servicing, right? So servicing, transaction, checklist, marketing, that if you're going to have the staff to do the customer service, simply have a checklist and preparing your staff, and to tell them what to do and when to do it, and make sure that they know what they are saying, right? So I hope that you come into the Advanced Business Workshop. We're going to help you to look and say, to increase your income, you need to increase the income producing activity and how to do it in today's market versus income servicing, right? So income servicing, you can delegate and hire a third-party company to do it, or have your hire staff to do it. So, so I wrote down here is that, treat, every client you would like to be treated, right? Treat every client as you would like to be treated. It enhancing the customer service, right? So they always say like, like make me feel important, right? That's the letterhead that you had on your head right here. Make me feel important. Are you making your client feel important, right? Right? So if your conversation is about them or it's about you, it's all about them, right? I hope, so you want to be, to enhancing customer service is something that you're gonna have to look at to do, all the time if you're expecting to scale your business, to the next level, right? So with that, guys, I hope that you can learn some great idea and apply into your business in today's program. And I always appreciate that you taking the time to check out this program. Make sure that you listen to this program, 3 to 4 times a week, until you own in the material, okay? And with that, if you if you like this program, go ahead and share it or subscribe to the YouTube channel here by clicking below, okay? So have a great one and go and have a great day. Thank you.